Kind of fast, kind of not. Either way, always running or talking about it. Welcome to the Kind of Fast podcast, powered by Upward Running. Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Kind of Fast podcast, the show where we talk running, real life, and a little bit of everything in between.
Yep, if you are a beginner runner training for your very first 5K, or if you're a fast runner chasing that great PR, that's the next big thing for you. This podcast is for you. We share stories, training tips, and plenty of laughs along the way.
We do. And this week's episode is going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about one of my all-time favorite running words in all the land in our segment, What Does That Even Mean? And it's one I can definitely relate to after this week's run.
In the news, we're diving into an absolutely wild running story, a guy who ran 100 miles on leftover pizza. And that might be something I could do. I would feel, I'll tell you a story about when I ate pizza for 3 months straight as part of that one there. And then another one of the stories is someone who tackled all 7 major marathons this year alone. And finally, a 92-year-old sprinter. We'll talk a little bit about what she has been doing and what records she's been breaking.
Yeah, and then for our deep dive of the week, we're going to talk about the most common mistakes that new runners make, and we're also going to talk about how to avoid them.
So if you are here for the first time, or you've been coming for, what are we, about 18 episodes in at this point in time? 21. We appreciate you coming and listening to the podcast today. And let's get going.
All right, so you are hearing that drum roll, and you know what that means. It is time for What Does That Even Mean? And today's word was inspired by one of my recent runs, and it's one of my personal favorite words, slogging.
Slogging is a fun term, and one that I think is pretty much just used in the running community. I cannot imagine it's used in another instance, but slogging is real technical. It's just when you get out there and you feel like you're moving in concrete that is still curing there, and it's just everything's hard, everything feels slow, it feels clunky, but you're still working your way through the miles. That is slogging.
Yeah, so technically slogging, slow jog. So if you put it together, slogging, it's a very heavy, like every step is miserable almost. And if you stick with running for however long, you will 100% understand this term. You'll know, oh wait, I am totally slogging.
I have certainly slogged before, and sometimes that is because it really needs to be a recovery run. And so that's my body's cue to like slow down even more and just get the miles in, because recovery happens when you get out and you start moving and you get the blood flowing. But other times it's like we as runners, sometimes you just got to check the box. And so the run called for a certain thing that day, and you go out and you make sure you get that thing done, even though you might not feel terrific during it. You get the job done, you get to check the box. And so I think everyone has experienced this. Certainly it happens every once in a while for me.
Oh, 100%. So the slow, effortful miles are where you kind of build endurance and mental toughness as well. So a slog isn't necessarily a bad run. It doesn't mean you're running bad. It just means that some days are fast, some days are joyful, and some days are just not that at all. So you got to grind it out one step at a time.
Yes, all facts there.
Yep. All right. So listeners, we need your help. Have you ever been slogging? If you have, let me know about it. You can either go to our website, upwardrunning.com/kindaFast, or send me a direct email at cboyce@upward.org. And I'll put that in the show notes so you don't have to like pause and write that down real quick.
Yeah. And, some of these topics for What Does That Even Mean has been ones that have come from our listeners. And so if you have a good idea, you can email you as well on that one, and maybe you'll see that on a future episode.
Yes. So if you have something that you don't quite understand, send it in. Honestly, send us anything because I like to read them.
I had a longtime friend that listens to the podcast every once in a while, Seth Novak, shouting you out here. But he mentioned to me in a text this week that he was listening to the pod, and the gun time versus chip time was interesting to him. He had never really thought about the differences between those two times.
What? And he's been running for like ever.
Forever. Ultra marathon guy and everything.
I
So,
love it.
yeah. Shout out Seth.
Shout out Seth. Okay, Travis, let's go to the news. Have you heard, or do you remember a few weeks ago when we talked about ultra marathoning and someone was putting chicken nuggets in a Ziploc bag and taking it with them?
You thought this was a great idea and you were going to try it. How'd it go?
I did not,
Okay.
but I have an update.
I'm kidding, by the way.
Okay, well, I found this story that kind of brings that story to shame.
Okay, tell me about it.
Okay, so there's this guy named Andy McLeod who ran the Mid-State Massive Ultra Trail in like Western Massachusetts, something around there. And it's a 100-mile race, right? So you got to fuel. Okay, get this. He ran the entire 100 miles off of stale leftover pizza, and he put the slices in a Ziploc bag and just like put them in his rain vest and ran.
Yeah, but how do you know they're stale? I mean, I'm sure they warmed up, with the body heat and all that as they ran along. They might have been not have been stale at all.
So gross.
They might have been just the opposite of stale.
I hope they were just cheese.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I once spent 3 months of my life eating nothing but pizza.
Like at all?
And so because of that, I think my body is perfectly set up to be able to do something like this in the future, but do some type of ultra straight on pizza, open for sponsorships, Papa John's, if you want to. So, anyway, I had, lost a job at one point in time. This is right as I was finishing up college, that type of thing. And so I had no money. Like it was one of these situations where they held my last check because of the way that we were compensated. There was something called chargebacks, and without getting too far into that, anyway, contractually they could hold my last check for 6 months. And so I had no money at all. So I got a job at Papa John's. I was taking night school to finish up college, and then I had a full-time daytime job as well, and just bootstrapping this thing, trying to finish school and survive at a time where I did not expect to have lost that job previously. And I straight up ate nothing but pizza for 3 months. The only thing I ate, because it was basically the only thing I could afford at the time, was the leftover pizzas at the end of the night at Papa John's that weren't delivered for one reason or another. I was like, all right, I'll take that. And I took it home, and that was my breakfast and lunch the next day. So I went back to work the next day and had it again. So not very good advice. I gained a ton of weight during that time. But all that to say, I think I could do this. No problem.
I mean, do you still eat pizza now, or are you like anti-pizza?
Oh, I'm all for it. It's one of my 6 main food groups.
So now, since you kind of don't know like what your next big goal is, this is it. We found it.
Ultra marathon fueled solely by pizza. Yes.
Well, he's actually not a terrible runner either. I mean, he powered his way through. I think it took him, 26 hours. I might have like overshot that by 1 or 2, but he got it done.
Yeah, 100 miles. Anytime you can finish a 100 miler, that's quite a feat.
Facts. Okay. Keeping on the like high endurance stories, let's talk about this one, because if running 100 miles on pizza sounds impressive, wait until you hear about the guy who ran 7 marathons around the world in 1 year.
Yeah, I love that. So, especially if it is the world majors, is this one the world majors?
It is exactly the world majors, all 7 of them in 1 year. And you guys think like some of these are 2 weeks apart. First of all, how do you pay for that?
Yeah.
Like really, how do you pay for that?
Yeah, so like London and is it, I can't remember, Tokyo or something is a week apart, I think in the spring, something like that. Yeah.
And then Chicago and New York are a few weeks apart too.
Just that's mid-October and 1st of November. Yeah.
So 1, Mr. Guy, how do you pay for it? 2, there's no shot you have a job. There's no shot.
Yeah. Maybe if you are a freelancer or work from home, and have a nice nest egg of funds to be able to fly all over the place, maybe.
I don't know. Anyways, his name is Armando Cortinas Mack. And in 2025, he ran all 7 world major marathons. For a refresher, that's Tokyo, Boston, London, Sydney, Berlin, Chicago, and New York. But on top of this, he literally crushed every single run. Like, he is running sub threes every single race.
Yeah, he's crushing me in all of these. So you've got some notes here. We're talking 243 in Tokyo, 242 in Boston, 251 in London, 238 in Sydney, the hilliest course of them all, running the fastest one there, 251 in Berlin, 243 in Chicago, 244 in New York. That is smoking fast.
I mean, so fast. And it gets even crazier because in all of his downtime, he was also training for a half Ironman and competing in triathlons.
Yeah, this dude's tough.
I'm telling you, he cannot have a job. There's no way.
That's true. I mean, when you throw in the Ironman stuff and realize that he's having to be in a place where he is fit in the swim and in the bike as well, man, impressive.
Yeah, and he did his half Ironman, I think one of them in like 5 hours, just a little over 5 hours, and that is fast.
Yeah, for sure. So making his way around the world in 2025.
Yeah, good for him. Couldn't be me, but good for him. Okay, last up in the news, we are going to talk about a woman from Italy. Her name is Emma Maria Mazenga, and she's 92 years old, and she is literally still sprinting and setting world records.
Let's talk about like the gusto you're saying these names with today. I mean, like last week, I was giving you a hard time about some of the African names that you were hitting on occasion. And today, Mazinga, you're in it. It's so great. All right, so she's 92 and she's sprinting. Is that right? 92?
Yes, she is completely sprinting. She has been running for about 40 years and she holds world records for women over 90. She ran a 200 meters in 51 seconds. Pretty fast. What's your 200 time?
I got a little bit off of Usain Bolt, I'd say. Now I could tell you like, so 51 seconds. So a lot of times when I'm doing some type of tempo effort or maybe 10K effort, I think I'm hitting like 44s for the 200 on the way to I always look about 200 split to see if I'm on pace for the quarter mile split that I'm trying to hit. You know, if I'm doing 1,000-meter repeats, I pay attention to the 200 split and the 400 split, and then I really probably don't pay attention to them because I'm kind of locked in. So she's reasonably close to that pace. Yeah, for a 90-year-old. Yeah.
Shout out to her. And the 60 meters, a 13.91, 400 meters, 206. And then she broke her own outdoor 200 meter record with a 50.3.
Yeah, she's moving. 90 years old. And that's amazing. 40 years of work. Lots of work she's put in over the years. And so she's able to keep it going, and it's impressive.
It is impressive. And what's even more impressive is that she doesn't follow like a solid training plan, like no fancy watches, no spreadsheets, no pacing charts. She simply goes off how she feels.
And I would imagine that, first off, you have an amazing 40-year aerobic base that you're building off of. So that is where most of your fitness is going to be. And so any speed work or anything, like you're just tweaking at that point. You're living off of the base of all that training over all those years. But ultimately, I got to imagine that sometimes she feels good and feels like she can move pretty well, and other days she might not as much. And so who's she kidding? She's just trying to get out there and move on a daily basis.
It's true. And her like coach, who she considers her coach, is just one of her friends, and she's outside timing her with like an old school stopwatch, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of cool.
Well, are you saying she's not uploading this stuff to Strava?
No.
It's still old school timer on that. Yeah.
What is also fascinating about this is obviously scientists heard about her and they're like, wait a minute, we need to study this woman, because how on earth are you still running this fast at 90 years old?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some things I can learn that can make it so that when I get to 90, I can still move as well.
I mean, I'd be interested to send you the results for that. So stay tuned.
But I want the magic pill from the scientists that are paying attention today.
True. I think her secret weapon is that her fast twitch muscle fibers, and I might have just butchered that, but her fast twitch muscle fibers are like replenishing as, someone that's around our age. Like, it's not her body, I think, is 20, 30 years younger than she is, which is crazy.
Very good.
All right, it is time for today's deep dive. And this one is for all the new runners out there, or really anyone who's getting back into running after taking some time off. We've had a lot of new members join Upward Running specifically for our Couch to Marathon program lately. And so I thought this would be the perfect time to talk about common mistakes we see over and over again and how to avoid them.
I think it's great. So, I was at once a beginner runner, and then I ran in high school and college, and then gave it up for 10 years, and got back into it as the getting back into it runner. And honestly, I learned and know so much more about running this second time around that I wish I could go back and apply to the first time around. And so I think it's great to just get back to the basics of what training is all about, what running is all about, and make sure you're kind of following these principles. And I think anyone can use these principles moving forward.
Yep, agree. So I'm going to kick us off with number one: too much, too fast, too soon.
Yeah, I've heard Mitchell and Dean call this the terrible twos.
Ah, that's a really good
Too
word.
much, too fast, too soon. And so with this, you're just really getting into, you get out there, you get moving, and you want to do more and more. And so, especially if you're doing one of our first Couch to 5K type programs, that is a tried and true process to take you from someone that's not moving very much, or at least moving very much consistently, to a 5K. And so most of the people that don't complete that, it's because they have tried to do too much too soon, and they end up getting injured, or something happens there. And so, you just got to really guard against that.
Yeah, so I think that I actually ran into this issue my first block of marathon training, which I was trying to keep up with my friend who had a solid base. I mean, she was running 20, 30 miles a week at that point, and I was trying to keep up with her. And so obviously I was doing too much too fast too soon. Ended up with a terrible case of shin splints, and I had to take 2 complete weeks off to have my shins heal. So it truly set me back.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in 2021, I had been self-coaching myself from 2018 to 2021, just based on what I was listening to on podcasts or reading about, that kind of thing, as I got back into the sport. But I hired my first coach there in 2021, and I spent the first half of the year kind of getting ready for that next season. And I was going to run CIM later that year, and I thought if I can just get in good shape, then this coach is just going to help tweak some things and get me over the hump for a Boston qualifier at that time. And so I immediately ramped up my mileage more than it had been. I started doing extra speed work when I didn't have to. And this coach was basically like, all right, here's the workout for the week, but here's extra work if that's not enough. And me being a check the box person said, sure, I'll do all that work and all the extra work. And then I'll do it all probably a little bit too fast along the way. And so I ended up with terrible Achilles tendinopathy and couldn't finish the race later that year. So all of that, even someone like myself that's been running for a long time, can still make these mistakes when you're trying to reach a big goal or you're trying to do something different for the first time.
So, what advice would you give to a new runner or someone who has taken a lot of time off to not deal with the terrible
Yeah,
twos?
I would say submit yourself to a plan and stick to it. And so, in the Upward Running case, we have plans for 5K, 10K, half marathon, and marathon. We have varying levels of each one of those that you can jump in at. And we got a series of questions that we ask you that kind of puts you into the right plan. And then, so I would say be real about where you are today, not aspirational in the moment. Be real about where you are today, submit yourself to a plan, stick to that plan, then pick a new plan based on your new level at a future date. But you don't have to be at the end when you start. You just have to work your way towards that. And I think these plans that we've got put together, or if you're doing another plan with another group, or something that you're being coached by with somebody else, submit to that plan and kind of try to follow it the best that you can. My example of a coach and doing too much was he just didn't know me yet. And And I was probably convincing in my discussions about that, about where I was and what I could do. And it was just probably too aspirational at the time. So anyway, I've learned from those mistakes, or I'm still trying to at this point.
That's great advice. Thank you for sharing. All right, number 2, and we've talked about this before, and we're probably going to talk about it again moving forward, but let's discuss shoes.
Hmm.
One of your favorite topics.
I love I love buying them and wearing them, and I'm actually down to like my least number of shoes right now that I've been in a long time. I've just tossed 2 pair in the past 2 weeks because I'd kind of hit my mileage marks on both of those. So I'm in need of like a new shoe buying day as it is.
I mean, my jaw dropped when you said that you were like, don't have enough shoes.
Yeah, down to 2 pairs of trainers.
Wow, Christmas is coming. So basically, when we're talking about shoes, especially when you're starting out, please, please, please do not go and grab the pair of tennis shoes that you've had in the back of your closet for 3 years because, I mean, more likely than not, those shoes are over on mileage. What does that mean?
Yeah, so most people, when they talk about mileage on shoes, so you can track this via like your smartwatch, you can track your mileage on that, or you can track your mileage in like a Strava app if you want to. We have a running journal called the Win Today Journal that you can track your mileage handwritten on something like that. But point is, you want to track the mileage that you have on your shoes. And the rule of thumb of that is 300 to 500 miles is kind of the going rate for most pairs of shoes. That's not racers. Racers would be less. So for my racers, I track up to 200 miles on those before I kind of send those things packing. But 300 to 500. When I was a lighter weight college runner, I would get the full 500 miles on it. At where I am now, I track it to 350 miles and generally retire those. That's like the number that I'm trying to hit on a pair of trainers. And so walking in them matters too. And so to your point of like, if you've had them for 3 years and they've been in the closet, you've been wearing them intermittently, then they might be done already before you even start trying to, use them as a running shoe for something like this. So it matters. But I only really track the actual run miles in them. That's my personal go on that. What do you think?
Yep, I do the same. And we're not just telling you, oh, track your miles because it gives you an excuse to go buy a new pair of shoes. Like when you wear the shoe over and over, you are wearing down the cushion of that shoe.
Yep.
So the overall shoe integrity just kind of falls apart with age.
And so a good way to see this, if you haven't been tracking it, is the rubber on the bottom of the shoe. Is it being scuffed up and does it wear out completely? Like that's a good example, but it's not the only way. Depending on the way that your foot strikes, or your weight or things like that, the rubber might still be good on the bottom of the shoes, but the cushioning that is above that, which would be the main sole and midsole there, might be compressed too much, where it's not taking the impact of the pounding anymore, and it's really deflecting that up the chain, meaning to your ankles, knees, hips, back, those types of things as you impact each individual step. So that's why the good rule of thumb of 300 to 500 is the best way of tracking that, because the shoes might look okay. I mean, there are shoes that I wear to work today, which are shoes that for whatever reason, I didn't get incredibly dirty along the 350 miles of me wearing them, but now are still fine to wear to work because they still look good. But I know like those have been utilized to a point where I wouldn't want to run any more miles in them.
Yep. I do have a suggestion. Just because Travis might like his pair of Brooks Ghost doesn't mean that pair of shoe will work on my foot either. So highly suggest to go to your local running store and get fitted for the proper pair of shoe too.
Totally agree on that. Here's what you need to look for when you do that, because we love running stores. We always want to point people to running stores. These are great resources in our individual communities, but they're probably going to tell you at the end of a fitting, if you've never been to one before, you're a neutral striker or a pronator or an overpronator. And so you can take that information from your first pair of shoes and buy other pairs of shoes online in the future based on those recommendations. So, like, I am a neutral striker, meaning that my weight is pretty evenly distributed across the shoe, and I don't, my ankle doesn't flex in or out on a pair of shoes. And so now that I know that, and I've been buying shoes in a neutral form for a long time, I can look online for a last year's model of a certain shoe or something like that to maybe get it at a lower cost. But it is a neutral shoe, and I know that it should work for my individual setup for me.
That's great advice.
Mhm.
You can always find a good deal online, especially with AI these days. I put in ChatGPT, hey, find me a sale on this website for this, and they do it.
Oh, that's genius.
I know. See, you learned something new today,
So, all
Travis.
right. I have not done that yet, but I like that idea. All right. So, our number 3 topic, what is that?
Oh, that is no structure training, not having any structure for your running.
Okay. So, what we're looking for here is, um, someone, like I mentioned earlier, to submit yourself to a plan and follow that plan. That plan's going to mix together easy days and hard days, long days and short days, progression probably of more mileage throughout the year, and a peaking phase that'll get you ready for a specific event, whatever your goal might be on that. And that's what you're alluding to here with this section.
Yep, 100%. It's so easy to kind of fall into the trap of, oh, let me just go out and run a few miles here and run a few miles there. And while that is great and you are still getting exercise, you're doing something for yourself. I mean, you're not following a structured plan, and it's so much easier to not keep yourself accountable that way.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about this in a future episode, but you have done both for sure. The following a structured plan very recently and had great success from that. But you've also been I'm just logging miles on a daily basis at the same pace every day and that kind of thing. Give us 2 minutes on the differences in between the two.
Oh my gosh, such a huge difference. I found that I got burnout so much faster by just going out and running random miles versus having structure. One, it kept me accountable. I am also a very much of a check the box person. And if I don't get that done, it's going to eat me alive. It's going to eat me alive. Two, just having my workouts broken up. So I have a speed day Tuesday and I know a speed day is going to be Thursday. Having that broken up just makes it more fun. And some things to look forward to also. Not going to lie, I did dread some workouts, but it was still changing up my routine and it made me a better runner at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally agree. So, one of my things is, understand what type of runner you want to be and lean into that. And so if you want to be someone who's just doing it for health benefits and getting out there and running every day, no shame. Own that and do it. But we find that you would find more fulfillment and you would actually become a better runner if that's important to you, if you submit yourself to a plan and follow a structured training plan.
1000% agree. Okay, number 4, and don't think I'm crazy, but we're going to talk about not hydrating. Also, since it is becoming colder, I did sprinkle in a few fun facts that I found on the internet.
All right, hit me with it.
Okay, so hydration. We all talk about hydrating in the summer, how important it is, how important electrolytes are, but they're also so important in the winter too. So hydration is a completely year-round thing. So I think in the winter, actually, it's harder to stay hydrated because it's cold. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to drink a bunch of water in the winter. But what most people don't realize is that in the winter, you're still losing fluids through breathing, through dry air. And for some of us, everyone, I think, but Travis and Coach Dean, we layer up in the winter, okay? And all those extra layers are making us thirsty.
And if you're like me, like I use my body's cues to know to drink, and drink more fluids. And so I don't think that your body is naturally cueing you enough to say, hey, you need to go drink some more water or get some more electrolytes or that type of thing. So it does make sense that in the winter, you might actually be less hydrated than you might be in the summer.
Yep, 100%. And you got to really start thinking about hydration as part of your daily rhythm, like not something that you need to do just before a long run or just before any exercise. Like add it into your daily habits, I think that would help so much. Have a goal and stick to that goal. Fun fact, did you know that your body actually loses more water in the winter? I didn't know that.
I would say I don't believe it.
Well, it's typically warmer and drier in our houses than outside, so you're dehydrating faster than you think, especially if you have natural gas.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're the one bringing the facts here, but I'm still not convinced.
Okay, well, let me hit you with this one. Did you know that you actually have to pee more in the winter than you do in the summer?
No, I didn't know this as well.
I got you on like 4 things today. So yeah, it's your body's kind of weird way of dealing with the cold. It has something to do with your kidneys, and the increased need to urinate.
How about that? All right. You got any other crazy facts
I
about
mean,
hydration for me?
I did. I went on a really deep dive. I mean,
Okay.
I probably spent 30 minutes just reading about how much more water you need in the winter.
So just so the public knows, where are you getting all this information from?
The internet. You have to believe everything you read on the internet, right?
Yes.
I did fact check it, okay?
Okay.
I checked the sources. But another fun fact is that your body uses more water just to breathe in cold air. So if you're in like the really cold states, like the Michael from Ohio, hello, it's colder there.
Yeah.
You need more water.
Okay. Any other fun facts from you?
No.
All right.
I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna end it there. And we're gonna move right on to number 5, and we are gonna talk about skipping recovery and how this is a major mistake. You've heard us talk about it before, and surprise, here it is again. This one hits close to home because as our listeners know, I really struggled with this. Because when you start to feel good, your instinct is saying, "Oh, I got this. I can keep going." But no, you need to rest.
Agreed. I saw something on Instagram today that was a really great breakdown of the need to recover after a marathon for 4 full weeks. And it talked about like week 3 post marathon, your body's going to actually start feeling better and you're going to feel like, oh, it's time to go. It's time to start adding my long runs back or maybe get a workout in or something like that. But it said like your body is still trying to work through some of the micro tears that you definitely had during the big effort of a marathon. And that's exactly where I'm at right now. Like I'm feeling pretty good. Like last night, even though the real feel was 21 degrees when I was out there running, I had the wind at my back the last half of that, and I thought, man, I could just drop this down and like hammer out a couple quick miles because my body's feeling like pretty dang solid and recovered at this point. But I didn't, and anyway, from what I saw, that was probably a wise decision as my body's still trying to recover from the big effort.
That makes sense. And what we have to think about is while we're running, I mean, no matter what your pace, you're still breaking down your body a little by little. I mean, think about yourself hitting the pavement over and over. I mean, no matter how fast slow you go, you're impacting your body.
For sure. You might be one of those no days off people that are listening. First, we love that energy. But second, don't be afraid to take a rest. And it doesn't make you weak or lazy. It makes you durable to do those types of things. And rest might look different for different people. So Coach Dean, who has this 13 years of running every single day except for one across that timeline, a rest day for him might be 1 or 2 miles. Just nice and easy. That is the equivalent of you or I taking the day off, right? For him. So it looks different for different people, but make sure that you're building in days where it's either very, very light, very, very easy, or altogether off. In the last year, I have moved from a 6-day a week schedule of running to 5 days a week running because it seems like my body just needs that extra day. Like I take one about midweek and I take Sunday off every week. And it just seems like my body gets the recovery it needs through those 2 days in that form.
Yeah, I think that's where we can really hone into the runner's intuition that you've talked before about on the podcast is listening to your body. Do what your body needs.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I know that you just mentioned that you're in the week 3 post marathon.
Yep.
And you're running again.
Yep. Like I said, I just started week 4 at this
Okay.
point in time. So I took 2 full weeks off. The second week, maybe I wasn't going to take the whole week, but I got pretty dang sick. And so it was needed and necessary because of that to take that second week off. Last week, I did run 26 miles, which was a good start back. All super easy. I did that across 5 days of running. So if you think, that's 5-ish miles a day basically there. This week, I plan to hit about 30 in my running on 5 days a week, but still, probably an 8-miler this weekend would be the long on that. So slowly ramping things up. Nothing fast. Was thinking about doing a workout later this week, but based on what I saw today, I think I was the check in my spirit that I needed to kind of slow down and give it one more week before I do anything else. Even though the turkey trot's coming up quick.
I was going to ask you about that. Are you running?
Oh, for sure.
Are you going to race it or are you going to run with Evie?
No, she is not ready to do the turkey trot this year. So in our town, it's a 5-miler. And so I think she'd be fine at about 3, even though she hadn't run in a couple weeks. But at 5 miles, even she would admit, not ready for that, but could be next year. So I'll run it hard. I would say not race effort, but 85-90%, good hard effort. Blow the lungs out a little bit there before you go and gorge yourself on turkey the rest of the day.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm getting those turkey socks this year.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know about the Spartanburg Turkey Trot, I think it's the first 75 people that come through, or so male and female, the first 75 get a coveted pair of Turkey Day 8K socks.
Yes. It is, if you know, street cred in Spartanburg, South Carolina on that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I didn't get socks last year. I was running with one of my really little cousins. And then Travis on Monday comes into work with shorts. It's cold. He walks in with shorts and his Turkey Day socks. I'm like, really? Yeah. You're doing that on purpose.
If you happen to see my Turkey Day socks, you just happen to see them that day.
Well, I just started the upward running 20 miles a week maintenance plan on Monday. Yep. So I'm going to stick with that for about 12 weeks and really kind of end the year easy. Just as less than the year, we had a great year and really start gearing up in January.
I think that's basically that's basically what I'm gonna do is some type of maintenance plan starting next week just to keep myself moving and having some of the faster days and slower days and longer days and shorter days built in, but nothing super hard until we get into the new year there. Have you listened to the Upward Running podcast this week yet? As we tape this, it just came out yesterday.
I did hear someone named Claire Boyd's on there. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm about halfway through it, but I did hear that they called you out.
Yeah.
About your race. So congrats on that.
Thank you. I was excited. I was like, wait a minute. I know her. And with that, our time is up. Don't forget that this podcast is powered by Upward Running, a community built to help you run with purpose, stay motivated, and find your people. As always, this journey is more than miles, and God is in every step. The good runs, the tough runs, He is with you through it all. He is with you, He is for you, and He is using this season to grow something deeper inside of you.
Yeah, at Upward Running, this is where faith and fitness meet, and we'd love to run with you. You can join us at upwardrunning.com/kindofast. That is upwardrunning.com/kindofast, and join others who are joining through the code as we speak right now, using that code to get 2 weeks free. And we love it when we see people signing up through that code. It's real joy to us when we see that. So we'll be back next week with another episode. Before I go, I got to ask you, will you write a review for us this week? We would be so thankful in this Thanksgiving season if we got a couple more reviews out there so that it could help the algorithm and help other people find the podcast as well.
I agree with that. Thank you, Travis. Like he said, we'll see you next week.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye. That was so fast. Okay, see you. Bye. Did you see the video I sent you yesterday of that guy running in circles?
I'm running a 5K inside of a box.
Yeah, and I thought it was ridiculous.
I almost added it to this.
This is what I would have done. If you want to talk about this madness, you can do it by yourself. That's what I'll put down right there.
But You have to.
Do you know? That was such an interesting transition.
What most people don't realize is that
Hold on. I was wiping a smirk from my face. All right.